We took a team from the CDC. There was a representative from the National Lotteries Authority. And we sat for quite a number of hours in cabinet and had quite a bit of frank and open discussions on where Vinci Mass is, what are some of our outstanding commitments, what we want to do with prize monies, etc. We took a document there. The components had made representation for a particular increase on individual component levels. We sat at the board and we agreed at our board on an across the board increase, with particular attention being paid to some areas where we thought we needed to address. And in short, we have been granted the increase in prize monies that we represented to the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines yesterday to the cabinet. And so I see Fire Empress smiling, and I'm sure Abijah thinks it's because he's the new head of the Calypso tent.
I'm thinking because I read the declaration.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so we've been granted those increases, and I'll go through a little bit of that. But I really want to say thanks to the components and the vendors who have worked with us. We've also been granted some additional funds so that we can deal with our outstanding commitments to our vendors. So again, we hope to be able to be contacting vendors in short order who have been very patient with us and say that we're able to deal with it. So I just want to go through a little bit of the numbers. Obviously, we traditionally pay out somewhere in the region of between $650,000 and $700,000 in prize monies. We're going to be moving that to roughly $960,000 in prize monies. So you can see there's almost a $300,000 increase in prize monies across the board. So I think give the minister and the cabinet and the hard-working team some kudos for really going through it in rigorous manner, but coming to an agreement that I think will benefit all. So I'm going to start with the panorama, and I'll just pick out some numbers because, as I said, it's an entire spreadsheet. You're not going to be able to record all of it, but of course it will be made available subsequently, and it would be made available to all of the components to disseminate. So we really went basically for a 30% increase in prize monies as the standard across the board. And what we will do with that 30% increase in prize monies, what we've done is we've addressed some of the areas where there were significant anomalies, where people had significant concerns. And so even though it's a 30%, it may not be 30% in every single category, because we may more heavily weight some of the categories that we feel maybe need a little more support, right? So let me start quickly with the junior monarchs, and the junior monarchs will move basically from 16,006, so about 17,000, to like 21,005. And as I said, all these figures will be made available to you guys, and that's the junior monarchs, right? In terms of mass, Comrade Hugh, you should be able to say to your mass fraternity that you move from 298,500, so roughly 299,000, to 388,000. So that's like a $90,000 increase for mass. For Juve, there's a 30% increase. They move from 11,500 to 15,000. The road march, what we're going to do is we're going to add a second place category in the road march. So we'll keep the first place where it is, but we'll take that additional price increase and now add a second place, because I think last year there was a lot of consternation that there was only a first place for road march and not a second place. So our people in the music side of things hopefully would be happy with that. In Panorama, the Panorama has moved from 117,000, and that includes Junior Panorama. It's moved from 117,000 to 173,000, which is a $55,000 roughly increase. Of significance, the appearance fees have increased because one of the things that we note is that increasing the top line benefits one or two people or organizations. But if we can do something to increase the appearance fees, then that makes all of the competitors better off. And one of the complaints that we have is the cost to compete has gone up significantly. And so therefore, it becomes a challenge for people to compete, because if you don't come in the top three, then you're almost competing at a break-even or losing level, right? So, interestingly, on some of these, like the first place in Panorama has moved from 33,000 to 43,000. The second place has moved from 22 to 29, etc. So those are like 30% increases. As I said, all the numbers would be made available, but I just wanted to pick out one or two things. In the Calypso Monarch segment of things, again, we've addressed, so they've moved from 94,000 to 123,000. So a 30% increase overall. The appearance fees significantly have moved from 44,000 to 63,000, so that everybody who makes an appearance hopefully would be less disadvantaged by the fact that they're appearing. And we've moved the first place from 25,000 to 30,000. Second place goes up to 15,000, and it goes through like that. The Raga Soca Monarch, one of the things that we argued is that we lay claim to Raga Soca being the child of St. Vincent music. We lay claim to it being our music. And for a very long time, there had been a significant disparity with Raga Soca and the Soca Monarch, and even the Calypso Monarch. So this year, again, we paid some attention to Raga Soca Monarch, and we've increased the appearance fees for the Raga Soca Monarch, and the first prize has gone to 30,000, which now brings it in line with Calypso. All right. The second prize has gone to 15,000, the third prize to 10, and one of the disparities with the Raga Soca Monarch, it was the only musical competition that did not have a fourth place. And so we've introduced a fourth place prize for Raga Soca Monarch this year of $7,500. Right? And of course, our flagship show for years has been the Soca Monarch. We say that this is where the energy of Vincy Mas is really released at its highest level. And this year, the appearance fees again have been raised. The appearance fees have been moved from 16,000 to 35,000. So the appearance fees are now $5,000 per competitor in the Soca Monarch, and we know that for years the Soca Monarch competitors have argued that it costs them very, very often more to put on any credible performance than they get in appearance fees, and so we've made an attempt to address that. The first place is now $60,000 in cash for the Soca Monarch. Now, what we did previously was $25,000 and a vehicle to the tune of like a Swift or something along those lines. What we've done is we recognize that there are a number of people who perhaps would prefer a straight up cash prize, And so the cash prize this year for the first place is $60,000. The second place moves to $30,000. The third place, $15,000. The fourth place, $10,000. So again,